Alright, I promise I won't start every video with that graphic, but I just really love it. Thank you to whoever made that for me. I added the audio, but I really like that. Let's go back just a little bit to an earlier time on YouTube, a more simple time, when people would just respond to videos they found on the internet. This is from Vice News. It is a video that showcases outrage from a community for the police trying to arrest people who were breaking into a bait car.
Police across the country routinely use bait traps to try to catch thieves in the act. They set up a tempting bike or a car, and then they watch. But in Chicago last week, the tactic backfired.
Here, Vice News essentially endorses this manufactured outrage about police enforcing the law.
Y'all park an empty Nike truck with Nike boxes in the ghetto.
What Charles caught on video was a new program the police had nicknamed Operation Trailer Trap. Police from Norfolk Southern Railways loaded the truck with Nike Air Force One sneakers and Christian Louboutin shoes.
I mean, can you believe this? That police would fill up a truck full of goods, and then people would go in and try to take those goods, and then be arrested, and they're somehow the bad guys. What is that, the soft bigotry of low expectations? You can't just park a car full of stuff and expect us not to take it.
3 people were arrested for theft in what police call a sting, but neighbors call a setup.
Oh, I'm not driving.
Okay. You were when I observed you, sir.
No, I was traveling, sir.
Okay. I understand that.
I'm traveling. I'm
I understand
a lawful
that, but I didn't see your
traveler.
driver's license in your...
Checkmate, establishment. You just used a different word, and it's like kryptonite to the justice system.
We always suspect that the police stage crime in our area, but we never able to prove it or document it on film. But this particular time, I knew I got it.
That's right, this was staged crime. Those people didn't break into that truck that was filled with sneakers, or so they thought. All of that, that's just the man keeping a brother down. Those guys that broke into that truck, they literally didn't do nothing.
We're over police, and we have the most crime. So you would think if we have the most police in our community, we should have less crime, but that's not the case.
Well, I would think the opposite, actually. If a place has more crime, there should be more police there. Wouldn't you agree? Why would you send more police to a place where there is less crime? It literally makes no sense.
What do you think that's done just around the neighborhood?
Oh man, the antennas have went up like, hey, we can't trust the cops. We can't trust them. Why? Because the cops preach transparency, but you practice something else.
Maybe members of your community shouldn't be breaking into each other's cars. Maybe they shouldn't be stealing from each other. Maybe that has nothing to do with the trust you should have in your police, but the trust you should have within one another. It's not the police's fault that these people were breaking into cars. And in fact, you should trust them more because they're actually doing their job. They're upholding the law. For many, many years, the police were accused of not patrolling in low-income neighborhoods, to use one of their euphemisms they like so much. But now that they're getting the patrolling that they wanted, they're getting caught doing the things that they didn't want to get in trouble for.
In the city of Chicago, we have an 83% murder rate that's unsolved. That same energy could have been used into finding the criminals, the murderers.
You're right. It is an absolute mystery. No one knows why everything is so bad in Chicago.
When you pull up a truck in front of an impoverished community and they see that it's an opportunity, come on, who's not going to take it?
A law-abiding citizen. That's who wouldn't take it. A productive member of society. When you see something parked on the side of the road that isn't yours, you're not supposed to take it.
The videos that were posted online prompted so much outrage that Norfolk Southern eventually apologized, saying that they don't plan to use that method in the future.
Well, as you all know, the crime rate in Chicago is sky high, and in places like Berkeley, it's difficult enough to just get the police to do their jobs. But here, in Chicago, they're enforcing the law. So after that groveling apology, what might you think the response would be?
The railroad police have apologized, and they said that they regret that they made people feel that they couldn't trust police.
Well, let me say this to the railroad, and you can take this message back to them. Are you sorry because you got caught? Or are you really sorry that you should have never done it?
That's right. Your apology isn't accepted. This right here is why you don't bend the knee or kiss the ring to people, especially community organizers. Community organizers. They don't speak for anybody but themselves. And what they seek to do is inflate the popularity of their name. I am against entrapment on principle, but in this case, this is something that these people did to themselves. This isn't like, say, enforcing ABC laws where they will send in somebody to look underage and try to purchase tobacco or alcohol. I personally think that's a bit of a misallocation of resources, but that's just me. In this case, they're actually getting people who would otherwise break into cars behind bars, and I think that's a good thing. I mean, if this was my community, I would approve of this sort of tactic. So why are things so bad in Chicago, you might be asking yourself? Well, it's a lot of things. First of all, police for many, many years, and I mentioned this earlier in the video, for many years, the police were accused of not even investigating calls that were coming from lower income neighborhoods, that they would just avoid these places entirely. And now that they are enforcing the laws in these areas, these people have a problem with it. At least the few that claim to speak on behalf of everyone else living there. It's very clear what the message is, at least to me. Enforce these rules on other people. Don't enforce the laws on us. We're too poor and disenfranchised. It's not fair to hold us to your set of rules. We have, of course, been seeing this for about half a decade now. These groups of people that demand that they be held to a lower set of standards, which is ironic considering the angle they're approaching at it from. There was a time when people at least pretended that they cared about the protection of private property, or public property even. But now, all it takes for us to just close up the book of rules and throw them away is a group to assemble on social media or even in real life and start complaining that the law is being enforced on them. And of course, this wouldn't work on any right-wingers if they start going out and complaining that they're being shadow banned on Twitter, removed from the internet. Even a YouTuber by the name of Jay Dyer had his WordPress website taken down yesterday, and it's unclear what the reasoning was. What's strange is that Jay Dyer is far from controversial. From what I've seen, he's more of a philosophy guy. He doesn't really have any controversial opinions. So for his website, not even YouTube, his website was taken down. It's strange. Remember, they said they were only going to come for the worst people, for Alex Jones, for the Daily Stormer. It's not looking so much like that now, is it? I think most people could agree that law and order where they live is a good thing. You don't want anybody walking down the street to just see something they want and try and take it from you. That's not a very safe society to raise your children in. So to reiterate, the police, after setting up a bait car filled with sneakers, apologized to the people that they arrested and let them go. Because apparently arresting people in the wrong neighborhoods is a problem. You can't just enforce the law wherever you go. I just don't think there is a more lame excuse than complaining that you were arrested because police left a locked car that was full of sneakers in your neighborhood. Oh, you're just egging us on. How could you expect us to just leave it there? We're poor. We shouldn't be held to the law. We shouldn't respect other people's property. These people probably wonder why crime is so high in their neighborhood, and it's always because of the police. When law enforcement is low in the area, it's because, oh, the cops just don't like us. They don't want to come to our neighborhood and enforce the law. But when they do come in the neighborhood and enforce the law, it's, oh, they're just trying to put us all behind bars. How could we not resist breaking into a truck full of new sneakers? Let this be a lesson to anybody. Never try to appease the voices of the unreasonable. They will always ask for more. Now, you never really want to appease anybody, but you especially don't want to appease people who will never be satisfied. The police should not have apologized. They should not have released the people they caught, and instead should have told people, well, if you don't break into people's trucks, you won't have a problem. This aspiring Al Sharpton does not represent the community he claims he does, just because he claims it. There are plenty of families in that area, I would imagine, that don't agree with what this man is trying to do. Any honest working family that lives in any neighborhood of any ethnic representation is going to want to have the law enforced where they live. Who would want to raise their family in a place where anybody at any time could come and destroy everything you've worked to build? Well, I do believe I've spent probably more than enough time talking about this video. It just kind of got under my skin. It put me in a bad headspace, if you're picking up what I'm putting down, but a link to the full video is in the description below. Feel free to check it out for yourself. But now, here it is, your moment of clarity.
Very nice. Getting a good picture of everybody so we look nice and handsome and thin.
Beautiful.
Perfect. Thank you very much.